Hello students, today the topic of discussion is pterygopalatine fossa and pterygopalatine ganglion. So first of all comes to pterygopalatine fossa. Pterygopalatine fossa is a pyramidal depression or space present in the infratemporal fossa. So in the diagram, in the picture, we can find out infratemporal fossa is exposed by cutting the part of zygomatic bone and zygomatic arch as well. When we see the norma lateralis without mandible, we see maxilla bone, pterygoid process of sphenoid bone, and between these two bones in this area we can see a small fissure known as pterygomaxillary fissure. So towards the medial aspect of this fissure lies the pterygopalatine fossa. In a more closer view of the skull we can find out the zygomatic bone. It is cut to expose this pterygoid process and the maxilla bone. So in this area, this is the area of infratemporal fossa. In here lies the pterygopalatine fossa, which is visible in the form of a small pyramidal space here. This fossa lies between the tuberosity of maxilla bone, which is present here. So in this area, maxilla bone is somewhat thickened to form a tuberosity. So between this tuberosity of maxilla and posteriorly there is presence of the pterygoid plate of sphenoid bone. So between these two lies the pterygopalatine fossa in this area, and this fossa lies exactly below the apex of the orbit. So this is orbit. Apex of orbit lies posteriorly, that is in the form of a narrow conical area. So if we go from above downwards, exactly below the apex of that orbit lies the pterygopalatine fossa. Boundaries of the fossa. Fossa is bounded anteriorly by superomedial part of posterior surface of maxilla. This is superomedial part of posterior surface of maxilla. Posteriorly, it is bounded by root of the pterygoid process. This is root of the pterygoid process. And superiorly, it also joined with the anterior surface of greater wing of the sphenoid bone. So here we can see greater wing of sphenoid bone. And in combination with root of the pterygoid process, it forms the posterior boundary of the fossa. Then medial boundary is visible in this blue color. So this medial boundary is formed by perpendicular plate of palatine bone. So this is palatine bone, whole in blue color. Upper part is known as perpendicular plate of palatine bone. So it is forming the medial boundary. Lateral boundary is formed by pterygomaxillary fissure. So between the pterygoid process and the maxilla bone, where these two bones are uniting, there is presence of a small breach in the bone, means separation between the two bones is present. That is known as pterygomaxillary fissure. So this fissure is forming the lateral boundary of the fossa. Superior boundary is formed by under surface of body of the sphenoid bone. So this is greater wing of sphenoid, and inferior to it lies the body of sphenoid. So body of sphenoid forms the superior boundary, and inferior boundary is formed by pyramidal process of palatine bone. So here small triangular bony part is present between the lower part of pterygoid plate and the maxilla bone. This is the pyramidal process of palatine bone. It is forming the inferior boundary of the fossa. So in the lateral view of skull, this area, pink color area, indicates the pterygomaxillary fissure forming the lateral boundary of the fossa. So communications of pterygopalatine fossa. So this is the area of pterygopalatine fossa, and this in light pink color we can see the medial wall, and here towards the lateral side pterygomaxillary fissure is there. So this fossa, it communicates with nasal cavity, oral cavity, infratemporal fossa, orbit, pharynx and middle cranial fossa through 8 foramina. First of all, anterior communication. So this is the anterior aspect. Here it communicates with the orbit through the inferior orbital fissure. So this area is the inferior orbital fissure. It leads into the orbit, and this fossa communicates with the orbit anteriorly. Posterior communication. So posterior wall is having 3 openings. First of all, foramen rotundum. With the help of this foramina, it communicates with middle cranial fossa. Second is pterygoid canal. With the help of this canal, it communicates with the foramen lacerum. And third is palatovaginal canal. Through this canal, it communicates with pharynx. Medial communication. In the medial wall, there is presence of a foramen known as sphenopalatine foramen, and with this foramen, the fossa communicates with the nasal cavity. Laterally, there is presence of pterygomaxillary fissure. Through the fissure, it communicates with the infratemporal fossa. Inferiorly, in relation to this pyramidal process of palatine bone, there is presence of greater palatine canal and lesser palatine canals. Through these canals, this fossa communicates with the oral cavity. Contents of the pterygopalatine fossa. So first content is the maxillary artery and its branches. So third part of maxillary artery lies within the pterygopalatine fossa, and it gives 6 branches within the fossa which supply various structures. This diagram shows the pterygopalatine fossa. This is pterygopalatine fossa, and in front of it lies the maxillary air sinus, and behind this is middle cranial fossa, which contains a trigeminal ganglion. So the second content of this fossa is the maxillary nerve. So this nerve which is visible here, this is maxillary nerve coming from middle cranial fossa through foramen rotundum. So trigeminal ganglion give second division, that is known as the maxillary nerve, passes to this fossa through the foramen rotundum, and within this fossa it gave 2 branches. Maxillary nerve gave 2 branches, zygomatic branch and posterior superior alveolar nerve. And apart from it, the third content of this fossa is the pterygopalatine ganglion, which is visible here in the form of a small oval body, pterygopalatine ganglion. And this ganglion gives various branches within this fossa which supply nearby areas. Next comes to pterygopalatine ganglion. Pterygopalatine ganglion is also known as sphenopalatine ganglion, ganglion of hay fever, or Meckel's ganglion. So first of all, we should know what is the meaning of term ganglion. In anatomy, the term ganglion is a structure containing number of cell bodies linked by synapses and form a swelling on a nerve fiber. It is the largest parasympathetic peripheral ganglion, means it is the largest ganglion that is related to central nervous system, means central nervous system means it is formed by cranial nerves. So it is the largest ganglion that is formed by cranial nerves. Pterygopalatine ganglion lies in the pterygopalatine fossa. Topographically, it is related to maxillary nerve. Topographically means It is present in the area of the maxillary nerve, or it is closely related to maxillary nerve, but functionally it is connected to facial nerve through its greater petrosal branch. Means it lies in the area of the maxillary nerve, but it do not receive all its contribution from the maxillary nerve, but also receive contribution from facial nerve for its formation through its greater petrosal branch. In the pterygopalatine fossa, this ganglion lies inferior to the maxillary nerve at the level of pterygoid canal. Pterygoid canal is an opening in the posterior wall of the fossa present inferior to foramen rotundum. So this is foramen rotundum through which maxillary nerve is crossing, and below it lies the pterygoid canal at the level of this ganglion. And in the medial wall of the fossa there is presence of a sphenopalatine foramen, and to this foramen this ganglion lies laterally. Next is connections of the ganglion. Means formation of ganglion, we can say. So this ganglion is formed by parasympathetic nerve, that is greater petrosal branch of the facial nerve. It is coming from brain. So it is parasympathetic root of the ganglion. This is the ganglion. Then second is the sympathetic root. Sympathetic root means the nerve fibers which are coming from the spinal nerves or spinal ganglia. So this deep petrosal nerve, it is the sympathetic root of the ganglion. And third is the sensory root. This is sensory root of that is coming from the maxillary nerve. So it is formed by sympathetic, parasympathetic, sympathetic and the sensory root. So first is parasympathetic root. Parasympathetic root is formed by nerve of the pterygoid canal. So what is nerve of pterygoid canal? Great petrosal nerve, it enters into the pterygoid canal along with the deep petrosal nerve. Then these both nerves are known as nerve of pterygoid canal, but both are having different origins. This is the parasympathetic root and this is the sympathetic root. So greater petrosal nerve, when passes through the pterygoid canal, it is known as nerve of pterygoid canal. It becomes the parasympathetic root of this ganglion. And from where it is coming? It is carrying the preganglionic fibers that arise from neurons present in the superior salivatory and lacrimatory nucleus in the brain. So it is carrying the sensation from superior salivatory and lacrimatory nuclei. So from there it passes through the nervus intermedius, then through facial nerve it is carrying the sensation. It relays the sensation first in the geniculate ganglion, and then from the geniculate ganglion greater petrosal nerve arises, and then it becomes the nerve of pterygoid canal, and it acts as a parasympathetic root of this ganglion. The fibers of the nerve, they relay their information in this ganglion, and then the postganglionic fibers, means the fibers of the nerve then begin from this ganglion. These proceed further. These are now the postganglionic fibers, and these supplies the secretomotor nerve to lacrimal gland. These also supplies the mucous glands of nose, paranasal sinuses, palate and nasopharynx through different branches. Means parasympathetic supply is given to all these structures. Second root is the sympathetic root, which is derived from the nerve of pterygoid canal, and here the nerve of pterygoid canal is the deep petrosal nerve. Deep petrosal nerve is arising from the sympathetic ganglion, and it is carrying the nerve impulse from the superior cervical ganglion. The postganglionic fibers arising from the superior cervical sympathetic ganglion passes through the internal carotid plexus present over the internal carotid artery, then passes through the deep petrosal nerve, and then passes through the nerve of pterygoid canal. So when this deep petrosal nerve enter into the pterygoid canal, it becomes the nerve to pterygoid canal and reaches the ganglion, pterygopalatine ganglion. Here the fibers passes through the ganglion without any relay and supply vasomotor nerves to mucous membrane of nose, paranasal air sinuses, palate and nasopharynx. Third is a sensory route which is arising from the maxillary nerve. So maxillary nerve, some fibers into the ganglion, and these fibers passes through the ganglion without any relay. Branches of the ganglion. Ganglion give various branches for the supply of nearby structures like orbital branches, nasal branches, palatine branches, pharyngeal branches, and lacrimal branches. Branches of the pterygopalatine ganglion. The branches of ganglion are actually the branches of maxillary nerve. So the branches of maxillary nerve carry the sympathetic and parasympathetic fibers along with them, which passes through the ganglion. So first branch is the orbital branch. Orbital branch, which is visible here. It passes through the inferior orbital fissure and supply the periosteum of the orbit and orbitalis muscle, which is present in the inferior orbital fissure. Second branch is palatine branch, that is the greater palatine nerve, which is also known as anterior palatine nerve. This nerve descends downwards, passes through the greater palatine canal and supplies the hard palate and also supplies the labial aspect of upper gums. Then lesser palatine nerve means middle and posterior palatine nerve. These passes through the lesser palatine foramina and supply the soft palate and tonsil. Then nasal branches. Nasal branches passes through the sphenopalatine foramen and reaches the nose area. Nasal branches further subdivide and supply the lateral wall of nose and root of nose along with some part of the roof of the nasal cavity. So first is lateral posterior superior nasal branches, which are about 5 and 6 in number. These supplies the posterior part of superior and middle nasal conchae. Then medial posterior superior nasal branches, which are about 2 or 3 in number. These reaches the posterior part of roof of nose and the nasal septum and supplies there. The largest of these branches is the sphenopalatine nerve, which descend up to the anterior part of the hard palate and passes through the incisive foramen here and supplies the hard palate as well. Pharyngeal branch, it passes through the palatovaginal canal and reaches the pharynx area where it supplies the nasopharynx behind the auditory tube. Then lacrimal branch. This is lacrimal branch. It is also a sensory root and this is also a sensory root of maxillary nerve. So this is preganglionic nerve root or preganglionic fibers, means from maxillary nerve these are entering into the ganglion. So these are preganglionic, and the fibers without any relay leaves the ganglion and this becomes a postganglionic root of the maxillary nerve. So these fibers again mixes with the maxillary nerve, and then from the maxillary nerve one more nerve arises known as the zygomatic nerve, which carry the sensory fibers of the or postganglionic fibers of this ganglion. So the fibers of lacrimal nerve passes along with the zygomatic nerve and supplies the secretomotor fibers to lacrimal gland. Applied anatomy of pterygopalatine ganglion. In cases of irritation or infection of the pterygopalatine ganglion, it causes congestion of glands of the palate and nose along with eyes also, producing runny nose and lacrimation. So this condition is known as hay fever. So that is why the ganglion is known as ganglion of hay fever. Hay fever is also known as allergic rhinitis. It is caused by cold-like signs and symptoms such as runny nose, itchy eyes, and sneezing, etc.